Hello. Test the stream. See if it's working. I think it's working. Let's test. We're doing it live. We're doing it live. I gotta remember to talk this way because that's where the camera is. Remember to do that. I must remember. I think I already fucked up. Is there sound?
Hmm.
Yes, there is. I even heard the from Cortez. All right. Hello, everyone who might be watching. Um. Okay. So Disney lawyers. I got the Doomsday Clock in the back. That's from you guys. Okay, it's advertising because people may not know. They may not know that you got a movie coming out called Avengers Doomsday. You know, this little indie project y'all got going. Okay, so that's in the background. There goes advertisement right there for you. And over here, yeah, over here, I got some trailers that you guys made. I didn't make it. I didn't make this. I don't have the budget or the talent. We're gonna talk about some trailers today from the MCU. The Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer that just dropped yesterday to formally announce that tickets are on sale. We'll talk about uh how the tickets are moving because apparently they're breaking records. And then we're gonna take a look at the roll call trailer for X-Men '97, which drops July 1st. I personally would have had a countdown for dedicated to that because that's like my favorite thing. But anyway, real quick, let's watch the Spider-Man trailer. I'm gonna lower the volume on the Spider-Man trailer. I'm only having it there as a visual aid, so I can pause it intermittently and talk about some things that I found interesting in the trailer. This is not an Easter egg thing. You can go to other places for that. You can go to other places where they got the whole technological setup where they could pause and go frame by frame, and I don't have that. I don't have a research team. I don't got none of that. All I have is my 42 years of experience of consuming Marvel content, comics, cartoons, movies, video games, board games, you name it. All right, so yeah, we're gonna start with the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer. It, I'm gonna mute my phone so that I could be more professional. Um, and then if you hear a voice or two there, you're not alone. That because I'm not alone, right? In the chat, we have already the voices of Cortez and Great, and so they might hear something and chime in. I'm not guaranteeing it. They are not paid actors, but just saying. All right, so Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer just dropped. Supposedly, there are two different trailers. There's a trailer that starts like the one we're gonna see here, and there's a trailer that has a whole other different opening. I have not seen that other trailer, but the internets were saying there's two trailers. Let's start this and see what's going on.
What is happening to me? Did you miss me, Spidey? I'm losing.
Let's stop it right there. Something's happening to Peter. All right, something's going on with our boy, and it doesn't look good. I think we're gonna get a bunch of these inside the mask camera angles because in the first trailer they show he's jumping out the building real cool, like parkourish. Actually, no, he's not. That's a different part of the trailer. But in the beginning, after he sees Ned and MJ on social media, he just melancholically pulls down his mask and just like jumps off the building, and then you get that inside the mask view. This is also inside the mask. Scorpion just threw Homeboy, you know, into a police car and into this metal structure here, and he's taunting him. Which I don't know. I don't know why you would think to taunt Spider-Man. Spider-Man has his taunt button. He is spamming taunts throughout every encounter. I don't know why you would even want to talk shit to Spider-Man, but he's feeling himself. Scorpion hasn't been around since like that post-credit scene from 30 years ago. So now we're seeing him, and he got his new tech tail, and he's feeling himself, thinking, "I'm gonna take out this bug." But lo and behold, something's going on with Pete's eyes. Don't know what it is. It makes me think. It reminds me of the old Spider-Man animated series on Fox 5. The Peter that wore the dad polo tucked in, the mint green striped polo shirt all the time. That was his uniform for some reason. I don't know. At the Bugle, you take pictures of the Bugle, you have to wear this polo, this mint green, white, and purple lined polo. Um, this reminds me of in that series when they did the whole man spider thing, which ironically, and I'll get back to this, it crosses over with the X-Men eventually when Peter's going through this like secondary mutation type of thing. Now, mutation, I use that word loosely because Spider-Man's not a mutant. He's a mutate, I think. But he went to the X-Men for help in the cartoon because of his body was changing. And it's not like he could pull up to Uncle Ben and ask him what's going on. So, he goes to Chuck and the X-Men and they help him out. But he still transforms into a man spider, 6 arms and all that, with a spider head, fangs. I don't think that's what's happening here in the trailer. I'm pointing this way because that's where it is for me. But I mean the trailer that's over here. I don't think we're gonna get Man Spider happening in Brand New Day. I don't think we're gonna get that. But as you will see if you haven't already seen this, if you haven't already watched this trailer for some reason, if you're one of the 2 million people who haven't watched this on the planet with internet, then you're gonna see some of the things that's happening to Peter, which are maybe a blessing and a curse.
In my mind.
Power
I
up,
am totally out of control.
and now Peter returns the
I gotta
favor and
fix
throws
whatever
him,
this is right
throws
now.
Scorpion in.
Final semester MIT.
Dad, who do you think is actually watching these?
Maybe so.
Now, this is reminiscent of that first trailer. Peter should stay off social media. Probably stay off social media.
What the?
And right there, he was
You found a way
using.
to suppress mutating
Go back a
DNA, right? To
Right
suppress-
there, he was using the web shooters, but then he's pushing on his arm, and now he's youth past the Toby, with the organic weapon. So what's up with that? That's gonna save him money and time because now he doesn't have to make his web fluid. He doesn't have to manage the cartridges, so that's good. But this organic webbing is coming with that, the blackened eyes and the more aggressive fighting style, more destructive fighting style. Pretty sure if Peter was in his right mind, he would not be chucking a villain purposefully into an occupied moving vehicle, let alone a police car. So, and some people are like, hey, is it the symbiote? Are we getting symbiote stuff? Nah, because that whole black and iris thing is not really indicative of the symbiote stuff that we've seen in comics and previous. It's not consistent with that. But whatever's going on with Peter, it is definitely not allowing him to think as clearly and as responsibly with his powers as we would expect from him. Let's continue.
Dr. Banner, you found a way to suppress mutating DNA, right?
If you see me,
So Bruce got himself a nice little tech watch here that he made. He's not Smart Hulk anymore. He's just old Professor Bruce. And whatever this thing is on his arm, whoever manufactured this, which I'm sure was him, himself. It's, I guess, allowing him to take on a professorial job at ECU, Empire State, or ESU, Empire State University. So cool. This thing right here, we're gonna see it again later in the trailer, in not so much of a functioning condition. And I think we also might see. They also look similar to Peter's new web shooters, that green light type thing. The metal. It looks very similar. Maybe Peter's also using or attempting to use inhibitors to suppress. I don't know.
This stuff run.
Dad joke.
So could you get rid of the bad aspects but keep the good?
Bruce is committed to the bit.
What parts of nature are good or bad?
Well, sorry about that.
Crashing a wedding.
Students, are you?
It appears we're faced with a threat we can't control. One we can't even see.
Now this guy, I'm not the one for. I don't have the offline IMDb in the head, so forgive me. I don't know the actor's name, and I don't know everything comic book wise either. But I do know, because I looked it up yesterday, that this character is he's an X-Men character. He's a character that's known for his hatred of mutants. And so for them to put that character here, sorry I don't have the name off the cuff, but maybe somebody in the chat or whatever. Anyway, for them to have this character here talking to Spider-Man in a professional setting here, possibly trying to get Spider-Man to help with this, as he's going to mention an invisible threat. Ooh, I don't know what it is. There has to be some connection with mutant hatred, hunting, that type of deal. Long rumored, people think Sadie Sink is playing Jean Grey. She's a redhead. She's wearing a green and yellow costume getup. Yeah, there's the brown jacket over it, but there've been set photos, and we've seen she's wearing a green and yellow type of clothing getup. And I mean, green and yellow, those and red hair are synonymous with one Jean Grey, Marvel Girl, throughout her comic book design history or whatever. So maybe he's asking Peter to help hunt down a mutant threat or something. I don't know, but it's interesting that this is a known X-Men character who's a mutant hater.
See.
Yeah. This effect, this thing going on, like everybody getting. You see this iridescent, translucent, effect going out, rippling out from the middle of Manhattan, and everyone getting kind of frozen. Anytime I see large groups of people frozen in the middle of whatever they're doing, I think of the old Fox X-Men movies when Charles Xavier used to enter an airport or enter a stadium, whatever. He would telepathically lock everyone down and have a free, conversation with whoever he wanted to focus on talking to. I don't know if this is meant to indicate that. I don't know if Jean Grey is the one that's doing this to the city. She's definitely based on her history. I don't know how they're doing it in MCU or even if that's her, but speculating. She is definitely capable of doing such a thing as Charles used to do in the Fox X-Men movies. Interesting though that Punisher isn't affected here. He doesn't seem to be affected for whatever reason.
One who's immune to it. You're the only one who can.
Oh yeah, not original. Got this from I think it was New Rockstars or maybe it was Screen Crush. So shout out to Eric Voss and Ryan Erie, both of them. But the Just Married John and Lucy, we see Peter crashes into a wedding gathering of some sort, knocks over a giant cake. John and Lucy, some people are speculating that John might be John Jameson, which is Jay Jonah's son. And J. Jonah Jameson's son, John, is inherently tied to the origins of the symbiote in the comic books. Is this perhaps hinting, yeah, that there is a symbiote thing going on here? I don't know. I don't think so. But that's what people wonder.
One who can sense it.
And what do you think they're looking for?
I'm not gonna pause here, but there's a lot of little Easter eggs here on Ned's board.
I swear.
He's a little
stuff there
I'm MJ.
that other people have
Two don't know each other?
freeze-framed and analyzed.
Yo, Spider-Man, you okay?
This
Get
is
rid of that
cool.
monster inside you?
Think I might go see how MJ's
Yeah,
doing.
so whoever's talking shit to Peter on the streets there, you know, body hopping, mentally hopping, telepathically hopping from host to host. Not only are they completely controlling people in the streets of New York, they're also being used to read Peter's minds, to know who MJ is and things like that. Again, a telepathic feat that would be child's play for an Omega level mutant like a Jean Grey. But in all my history of remembering Jean Grey and what she does, I cannot recall her powers working in that type of way, in a way that she's like hosting, like body hopping like that telepathically. You know what I'm saying? Like that use of her powers, where that's more like a Shadow King type of deal, where like the telepathic overtaking of somebody else is like more like a virus, you know, or something that you can catch or can be passed. I had speculated maybe like that the main villain in here might be in the background, like a Mr. Negative, where he's causing people to do those like things that are against their nature, like in the first trailer where they show like an old lady driving a tank. You know, she doesn't know how to do that, and otherwise she wouldn't. That lady, she's a normal citizen. She wouldn't just hijack a military vehicle. But Mr. Negative, from what I know, he doesn't have the ability to like read your mind, maybe your emotions, but not like your mind. For him to like know who MJ is, for example, that type of thing. So maybe it's not Mr. Negative. I don't know. That's part of the intrigue of the movie. This part is one of two parts that is very Jurassic Park ish. You get the water rippling and the rumbling sounds in the background, like, you know, probably because Hulk is uh, stomping through this wrecked building, perhaps. Kind of like the T-Rex or like dinosaurs do in the Jurassic Park movies, disturbing the still waters. The other reference to Jurassic Park, you'll see in a second.
You're not gonna get away with this.
But he might.
Goes the device is all broken.
I didn't know you could.
Right here, very Jurassic Parkish. You got whatever was being projected, whatever these things on the walls are being projected. You can see the mouse cursor there, yeah. So whatever is on these walls being projected is also being projected onto the Hulk. And some people say this Gray Hulk. He looks green to me. It's just the lighting. It doesn't really make sense to me if he's Gray Hulk, because Gray Hulk, which I was kind of upset that they skipped over that in the MCU so far. Gray Hulk is kind of like a smart Hulk, but more gangster with it, you know? He's a Hulk that keeps his suit on, but he still is the muscle and you know, still capable of smashing, as a Hulk is wont to do. But this is very Jurassic Parkish because it's like when, I remember this scene, I've seen Jurassic Park like 100 times. Like when the projectors are hitting the raptors or whatever. I think it's interesting that this shot of a projector being onto the monster, the creature, whatever that is the Hulk, and then right before that the still water that ripples because of the, you know, the Hulk's presence or whatever, the steps. I mean, it's very evocative of like the Jurassic Park scenes.
You get that big.
Thunderclap, baby.
But you're in danger. You just have to trust me.
Fine. This whole thing can get really scary.
Who the hell is that?
Who the hell are you?
Frank, please. I don't have anywhere else to go.
Now he says I don't got anywhere else to go. Is it because I mean, in the movie, time is going to have passed. You know, a couple like things like 5, 6, 9 months, whatever they said, from the end of No Way Home to the beginning of this movie. But then at some point, that's we've seen in the first trailer, like this montage of Spider-Man fighting villain after villain, and these shots that look a lot like classic comic book covers or panels from Spider-Man's history. Um, Time will pass. I think like 4 or 5 years total, something like that. Somewhere along there, Peter had to have interacted with and met Frank Castle, the Punisher. Unless in this movie is where we see their sole introduction and all interactions, henceforth from the MCU going forward. I don't know. I don't know if I hope they don't off screen that. I really hope they don't off screen how they meet. But Peter says I got nowhere to go. Maybe Peter knows that Frank, for whatever reason, was unaffected by that mental shockwave that went out and was freezing everybody in the city. Or maybe he just trusts him because he knows that even though Frank busts caps in people, and Peter don't like killing, maybe he still knows that Frank deep down is more hero than he is a threat. That he'll do right by someone that isn't a criminal.
By the people who love you.
Just gonna let him go by himself?
Love you
He's hanging out in
because
an
you're
old
you.
sub.
If you're gonna do something, you better do it now.
With those black eyes, but
Never forget that.
that's without the mask. Here he has the
No matter
mask.
how
There he
powerful
doesn't have
you
the mask.
become.
So is he learning to control that extra power? I don't know. Right here, got Hulk all webbed up.
Huh. Alright.
You gotta end with comedy because it's the MCU.
Give me a sec. I'm not in high
Though
school
they
anymore.
have a doomsday
Oh.
clock
Did you stretch? You a big stretcher?
going on.
It's so
Right,
good for
in
you.
the background here.
You ready?
So they got a literal doomsday clock. You gotta throw in the humor. You gotta have the Marvel humor. So, and this is nice. You can download a free DLC brand new day costume into Spider-Man 2. Is that enough to make me go back and play Spider-Man 2 again? I don't know. I pretty much finished that game thoroughly. I don't know if I want to go back. Maybe just swing around, see how the costume looks, see if they make it like metallic blue reflective, like it did, like the way it appeared at the end of No Way Home. Not sure. And then it goes those huge web shooter things, which I forgot to freeze in the trailer when they showed it earlier. But it might be that he's trying to repress those powers, and maybe when he goes to prison to fight the Hand, maybe he runs into Matt Murdock, who's also in prison. Is it the same prison? I don't know, but maybe he runs into Matt Murdock. Maybe Matt, who has some experience when it comes to controlling your senses and keeping things, you know, keeping composure. Maybe he shares some wisdom with Peter, and that's how he's able to control these new iterations or amps to his spider powers that he's known up to this point. Don't know, but that's one trail down. Let's move on to X-Men '97. This is a shorter trailer. This is the roll call trailer. I'm not gonna pause it as much as I did the Spider-Man trailer, but just here and there's I will. And also, I wanted to say here that X-Men '97 episodes they start July 1st, which I believe is a Wednesday, and I'm planning to do this content thing Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 o'clock Eastern. So since I had already decided to do Thursdays, I was like, well, that's a great time to do like an X Men recap. So Thursdays definitely a significant chunk of for the remainder of the season 2 of X Men '97. Thursdays I'm definitely going to be doing deep dives, reactions to the new episodes that air on Wednesdays on Disney Plus. All right, but this is just like a hype roll call, like a lot of the mutants that we're gonna see shows their names and a little bit of highlights of things they're gonna be doing during the season. You start off, of course, with the Frank Miller classic, come hither with the claws out pose that Wolverine is very iconic cover, comic book cover back in the day.
We're back, babe.
That green stuff gotta be like brood blood or something. It ain't human, and I don't think they fight any predators over here. Even though in the comic books they've been fighting predators, I think that's some brood going on. Some brood blood.
Baby. We
So
are
much
the
there.
X-Men. Together, we're unstoppable.
Plenty of tricks up my sleeve.
Oh dear.
Oh, I didn't lower this, so I realize I'm probably talking and can't hear me as well. I apologize. Hopefully, you were hearing me being hyped. Nightcrawler is over here fighting Exodus, and when I saw that in the first X-Men '97 trailer, I was like, "What?" Because I like Exodus. I think he's hilarious. I like Exodus as a character. He's an Omega level telekinetic mutant. He's lived a long time, and like Kurt Wagner, our favorite blue puffball mutant. No offense to Beast. He's very like religious. He's very in his own way spiritual, and Kurt also always struggles with his soul and with God. And so having them fight is very interesting to me because, I mean, as much as I love Nightcrawler on paper, this is not a matchup he should win. Exodus is extremely powerful. Extremely powerful. We got to see just a glimpse of him dancing last season on Genosha. But here we're seeing him actually throwing hands. And it makes sense that he's going to have, hopefully, a more important role and more appearances than he did in season one because this is involving Apocalypse. And Exodus and Apocalypse, they've definitely crossed paths.
We are the dawn that breaks his night.
I'm all for Storm controlling cosmic level storms. This looks incredible. Let her be Omega. No more nerfs. No more of those Friends of Humanity guns from the Executioner. None of that. Just all out Aurora power. Love it. Love to see it. I will go back and freeze that a little bit. So, Psylocke is Psylocke. This is not Morph. Psylocke is doing a thing. And behind her is Jubilee, and Cable, and Roberto Costas. Sunspot. Right there. And that's really cool. This collection here. I'm thinking that this is in the present, right? This has to be in the present. Because we know there's some X-Men in the past, in Egypt, with Ensabanur, Young Apocalypse. We know that there's the future with Cyclops, Jean, and young Nathan, with Mother Ascani, spending some time in the future, getting to raise him when they didn't think they would be able to do that, or Scott didn't. And then you have here, Jubilee looks a little bit more grown, and obviously Roberto has gotten more mastery with his abilities. And Cable's there again, and that looks like our modern day. When I say modern, I mean like X-Men '97, present time. Psylocke and Archangel, who also appears with her. So I'm guessing this is the present day team in X-Men '97 or '98, if you will, compared to the other time displaced members of the team.
We're soldiers.
It's Emma going diamond form, sitting on some type of computer console. Don't know what's going on there. I really want them to add her to the team like as a permanent member. They've shown a lot of the X Men, especially Jean and Cyclops, rocking the new X Men era. Is it Grant Morrison? Yeah, Grant Morrison, new X Men type of early 2000s get up. That's really when Emma started becoming part of the team, And I want to see more of Emma. She's one of my favorite mutants. She's one of my favorite characters. She's cool.
Whatever force.
This Magneto, if this is, I think this is future Magneto, like Age of Apocalypse leaning type Magneto. He got scratches on his face. His mask is a little bit messed up. I'm thinking this was Wolverine, evidence of Wolverine's get back, pulling out that adamantium that we saw from last season. But this is Magneto trying to put up a fight against a fully powered Apocalypse, a fully matured Apocalypse.
Await. We shall face them together.
She's the X-Men's most diabolical foe, Apocalypse.
This is like Magneto.
I will be all that is left.
Up as much as he can. Apocalypse and his plans. So, yeah, really hyped for the roll call. July 1st, X-Men 97 stuff, really cool. Yesterday, I talked a lot about basketball. Today, we talked about some Marvel trailers. I'm still figuring out how this is going to go, but my main thing is being consistent and starting out that routine for myself. But hopefully you got some insight or something entertaining from my view, my take on these two trailers. If you were watching, appreciate you. Share this with people that you think might be interested as well in whatever I was talking about this particular episode. And hopefully in the future we can get like a live chat going and more like back and forth discourse to really discuss what's upcoming in the areas of entertainment, sports, or what have you, whatever I might be talking about at that time. All right, appreciate y'all checking in. Doomsday Clock, 5 months, 29 days, 5 hours, 27 minutes, and 40 some odd seconds until we see Robert Downey Jr. as Victor Von Doom. And try to figure out what in the hell what type of story the Russo brothers are trying to tell. All right, cool. Y'all have a good evening or day.